whole of society approach, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. I'm of course talking about you who are sitting here and being part of the change that needs to happen in the world, in Quezon City, within your family, within your group of friends, because it's such a prevalent challenge to all of us. And because change, when it comes to healthy living, having a healthy and active lifestyle, choosing healthy foods, is not an easy change to bring about. And that's why we need a whole of community and a whole of society approach. Now, the costs of obesity have been described already, but I'll add something before I look at what we can do as individuals, as a group together, to bring about change. And what I want to add is that for our children, for our future, there is a very real cost of being overweight and obesity, which is not just about your health, which of course impacts you very directly, impacts the happiness that you feel, but also your family and friends feel, because of health worries and concerns, maybe also the economic burden that may follow, but also because there is a real opportunity loss connected to being overweight and obese that we need to tackle, especially when it comes to the children, the future of our societies. And that is that you can measure out statistically that it has a lot of social impacts also. It will impact things like how much will you earn in life. It will impact how likely is it that you will get married. How likely is it that you will have children. How likely is it that you will have a long life. How likely is it that you will be able to pursue a higher education? What we can see throughout the world right now is happening is that not only is there a crisis when it comes to overweight and obesity in the world, but there's also a social side to that, which is developing quite rapidly. And one of the things that I didn't mention before was also mental health issues, not just physical. But there are all these added costs also. And that's why it's so important to have you here in the room with us today, discussing what can be done, what actions can we take collectively. Whole of society approach implies that we need to work at all levels. At the individual level, yes, people need to be more conscious, self-aware, but also how do we support this in the families by having healthy eating choices, by also just understanding what does healthy food look like? What is it to have a healthy meal? By trying to make sure that we remain active, and I would like to commend both Mayor Joy Quezon City and the organizers for having put this small exercise in. It is actually small steps that can make a big difference in our daily life. So kudos to putting that into the program and reminding us that being physically active is one of the big ways to bring about change. Because unfortunately we can see physical activity is being drawn out of our lives. We are in the comfort zone, behind our mobile or behind our PC, sitting in an office chair or whatever. We need to break those bad habits. Now, for us who are gathered here in this room, many of you are from the educational departments, and you of course have a special relationship to the children who are out there, living in Quezon City, growing up, becoming mature adults, and growing into good members of society and important contributors to the Philippines' economic growth and prosperity and a better future for everybody in the Philippines. So there is a especially important assignment to you who are here to also get that better understanding that you can gain from today's discussions, the conference, from the experts which will share their expertise on what can be done, why it's important, and the impact of various kinds of actions, and try to impart those to the children of Quezon City so that they have a chance to make informed discussion, informed choices that will allow them to have healthier and happier lives in the future. In the same way, it's also good that we have representatives from the citizenship here, because it's very much about also mobilizing the families here in Quezon City to also be part of a drive towards change. Now we do have the private sector here. Sun from the Novo Nordisk company just spoke about how the private sector can also help by taking initiatives that will allow for a better understanding of what can be done about obesity and overweight. But at the end of the day, we also need to look at the food sector, the food companies and the food industry, which also needs to be nudged towards providing better and more healthy choices out there. Of course, if you're a food company, your number one goal is to sell more food to more people. So there is a friction here. And that's why sometimes we need to think about having ordinances that actually direct the private sector to take at least steps that will allow people themselves to take informed decisions. And I would like to commend also here Mayor Joy in Quezon City for having taken steps to make sure that citizens can take more informed decisions. So let's have better informed children, better informed families, but also nudge the private sector to make sure that we can have more informed choices out there that will allow us to slowly bring change to this. Currently, we are facing an overweight and obesity crisis in the world. Will that tide be stemmed? I think it will, but it will take time. I think the focus is much larger now than it used to be, but also because the problem is much larger today than it used to be. Together, we can work our way out of this, but only if we also catch the young, the adolescents, while there's still time to build up those good habits that consist of making healthy choices, eating better foods, and staying physically active. Together we can bring that change. You who are sitting here today will be part of that. Let's work together. There is a solution, and the solution is you. Thank you very much.